Hello, y'all. I am Kristen Live, and I am a former toxic girl.
Hi, Kristen. My name is Dee Dee, and I am a recovering toxaholic.
Hey, Dee Dee.
And I'm Aisha Thalia, also a recovering but almost completely healed former toxic girl.
Good for you. Hi, Aisha.
And this is Toxic Anonymous, and we are here to help. And we have with us today my good friend, Miss LaShawnna Stanley, Queen LaShawnna, casting director. LaShawnna Stanley, producer, CEO of Ethnicity Models, and she's also a life coach. Welcome.
Hi, I'm here.
She does it all.
Hey.
A woman of many talents.
So we always start off with a segment titled Toxic Tales. So we just need you to give a brief little toxic story that, you know, maybe in your former days, you know, before you evolved into the woman that you are.
Former. Okay, so even if you're evolved, you still have that in you and you can revert back. Right. So I'll give you a toxic story. And it was recent. It was actually in June, I
Living
believe.
your truth.
So I was dating this guy off and on for about 7-8 years. And, you know, he was on again, off again. And he's Aquarius, you know, shows no emotion sometimes.
February Aquarius?
January Aquarius. Just kind of nonchalant, and you know, just they could just be a little emotionless at times or acting emotionless. And I'm a Scorpio. I'm super sensitive.
That's my sign.
Oh, we super toxic.
I was just gonna say,
we used to be,
I'm like, oh, I'm
unevolved.
like that.
Scorpios are super toxic.
Yes,
unevolved.
Yeah,
once you evolve, we're great.
I'm definitely evolved.
But so he had to come. He moved in with me for a while, you know, and he didn't come home one night. So I feel like that's super disrespectful. Don't do that. If you're not into me,
don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. If you're not into me or we're not like that, don't invade my space, because now you here, you got other things going on, but you over here cock blocking, staying at my house. So he didn't come home. So he's never seen or talked to me again, and he only had what he left my house with on his back and feet. I gave everything else away, changed my locks, blocked them, can't reach me.
Love should have brought your ass home.
I feel like you used me for a place to stay, and you knew you weren't serious.
Yep.
And now I have to start over emotionally detoxing from you. And the only thing you seem to care about is material things. So I had to get my
stuff back.
Of course, I had to get my leg back. No, start over. I had to start over. You got to start over.
Start from scratch, boo.
If you live
call
with
it a hobo sapien.
If you stay here and you don't come home, you never getting back in.
Right, and now you're homeless. Look at yourself.
No, he probably not homeless. He has a good job. Like he's not homeless, but you're not just gonna come in, grab your stuff, and be like, bye. No,
but you not
start over.
I like that.
Sure. So the toxic thing is very Scorpio, and we have this energy that it's like you said, get your lick back.
Revenge.
But it's like, it's petty. So it's like, okay, petty. So, you know, you didn't come home, so now you can't come home.
I mean, no,
you know,
you made your choice away from you.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you want.
No,
okay,
don't
I got
play with
you.
me. Don't play with me.
You made your bed not lying and put the locks are changed. So.
Another bed of lying.
No, don't play with me, and I won't play with you back, because I'm going to win.
Fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So that is pretty much like the toxic trait that I'm having a really hard time in reforming. Because I feel like that's fair, right? An eye for an eye. But, you know.
But the Bible says, you know, if the whole world were an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, the whole world would be eyeless and toothless.
Well, it don't have to be the whole world. It could just be Scorpios.
No,
I was like, the Bible also said an eye for an eye.
The Old Testament, not the New Testament. Okay? Like, that's before the blood. Okay.
The Bible also says, slave, obey your slave master. So we're not even going to get into that conversation.
It's true. You know, we on the same wavelength. But I do agree that right now these men out here are tripping. And I do think that they tend to take advantage. And that's why you can't let them play with you like that. Because they will take advantage. You know, they'll take advantage of you.
Yeah, take your kindness for weakness. And they think because you're loving and submissive that maybe your weekend wouldn't be a certain way that you normally probably wouldn't be until you push somebody to the edge.
We just got done talking about this, about women. There's all this on the internet about if you don't ask for much, you'll get everything. And Dee Dee and I were just having the discussion, like, this can be further from the truth, because I used to be a woman like that. I used to be like, if I don't need anything. But if you don't ask, you won't receive. And I really do think that also comes to setting boundaries. You set your boundaries, and then people won't play with you.
You quoted the Bible again. Ask, the good Lord said, ask and ye shall receive. Facts. And if my God say that, who am I? Why should I believe man? Okay. So I mean,
like to question.
Do you think that? Do you think that the women that are, that the one who asks for less will ultimately receive more? Or are you more of a...
I think have your own so you can date people that you really like. Because as women, we in the past, or some people still, you end up dating people for things, and now you dating a guy you probably wouldn't entertain. But when you have your own money, you can date people. I just like you. Yeah, I don't need anything from you.
Right, but it doesn't have to be tangible.
But I make very clear of what I need emotionally, spiritually, physically, sexually, things that I like that I won't settle for.
So then you do ask.
Yeah, you put it, or
I put it out there.
Put it out there.
I put it out there.
So you don't even. And the thing is, once you exude it, you tend to attract the people that are willing.
You do attract it.
You just.
But I'm not afraid to ask
because you don't put yourself on the clearance rack.
Right.
That's the thing. I get it.
I feel like it also depends on the man and what type of man. Like, so you were saying like Aquarius man, Scorpio man, whatever. I feel like every man has a different personality. So, I mean, in the dating world, dealing with different men over my lifetime, they're all so very different. Like, there's certain men that they'll just give. Like, you don't even gotta ask. And when you do ask, they get turned off because they give you everything that you need. So it's like, why are you asking?
If you're already being given something, I'm not gonna ask for water if you just handed me a cup of water.
Like I already have a whole fountain at my house, but so I don't need. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you gotta know who you're dealing with. And
True.
I don't know.
I just think a lot of these men out here now are just expecting. I think a lot of women aren't necessarily saying, "Oh, we need all of this." I think men out here are just traditionally doing less. We were just talking about Dee Dee just went on a date.
It's the women's fault they're doing less.
You think?
You're right.
It totally is. I went out with this older guy. He's a silver fox guy, and I went on a date, and he pulled it to me. He said, "I'm outside." I said, "That's what your mama taught you? You outside? You're not knocking on the door to come get me?"
Exactly.
And he did something else. I checked him 2 or 3 times nicely, and he said, "Honestly, these women haven't been requiring anything, so I kind of forgot what to do, and I apologize."
You think it was a genuine forgetting, or you think they just got comfortable being lazy?
No, women don't require a lot.
Put that on women, because what he just did was pass the buck. Women don't require anything, so I forgot. Whether a woman requires it or not, if it's in your nature to be a gentleman, you're going to be a gentleman, not because that's what she requires, but because by nature I'm a gentleman. So I'm not going to pass it down and be like, "Oh, women don't require it, so I'm not going to respect it." Like, sir.
But if some chicks, he pull up to the house, I'm outside, they come outside. I'm not coming outside. Come knock on my door.
Yeah. But people, you just need to train up a little bit. Just a little bit. You remind them a little bit.
Yeah, like also we can't feel like everybody has the
home training,
the luxury of having a 2-parent household or having a mother that is teaching him to be a gentleman. You know what I mean? So like everyone's raised differently.
No, they know.
So you gotta give grace sometimes.
Some men don't.
I agree with that. A lot of men don't have that. There'll be men that are resistant. Like they'll be like, I'm popping, so I don't gotta do all that. The other
that's a different story.
Men are doing it to gain points or just to get the vajayjay or to get somewhere. So it's not really genuine. They'd be like, "Oh yeah, chicks are doing this. Dudes are only doing that." It's not sustainable.
I heard men are out here trying to open doors. Asking women to open their doors.
Yeah, it gets crazy.
I don't date those type of guys.
Right. But I feel like in her case, it's a little different because she said that, "Hey, these were my requirements. I let him know I had to check him on these things, and he was receptive to it." It's not like he was like, "Well, shit, you could, open up your own door. You can," I said I'm outside. I repeated myself. He was receptive to it. He was like, "Oh, my bad." You know what I mean? So That's what I'm saying.
I've had to teach my husband some things about what to do. And you know what? He never makes the same mistake twice. I'll say that.
I love that.
He's coachable.
Shout out to Rob.
He's coachable.
But even with us, like I'm dating a new guy. He's incredible. He had to teach me some things. You know, he told me once I don't do it again. But if I've been dating a guy that lets me get away with, you know, saying something slick or saying nigga or whatever, and he don't tolerate that.
Yeah.
You know, you say niggas do this. He said, excuse me, what'd you say?
Oh, I love that.
So,
ooh, check me.
I will never say that.
Check me, boo.
I'll never say that again. But you've been getting away with it, so it's just normal. You don't think you do anything wrong.
Everybody who knows me knows my mouth is sort of foul, and I never forget the time that I was out with Rob and we were just playing, and I was like, "Man, suck my dick," and I never. I'll never forget. I say it to everybody, but I'll never forget the look. He turned around. He said, "What did you say?" He's like, "Don't ever say that to me again." And I was, I literally say it like to anything. But I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson, and he's not often to check me because I am, But that was a long time ago. I'm past that. You know. But you're right. Sometimes we do need to be taught how people want to be loved, how they want to be treated, how they like to be respected. I think dating in Miami is overall hard, and I think that it's harder for some of us than others. And I think we were talking about this earlier about how there's so many men that come here to this city looking for exotic women or looking for women that don't even, they wouldn't be anybody that they necessarily saw from home. And then especially black men are turning their backs on black women because they think that somehow makes them dating up is be dating someone of a lighter complexion. And that could stem from slavery, but we still here in 2023 have men that are out here, so what are your experiences with that?
We talk about this in Black History Month, honey.
Black History Month.
So honestly, personally, I could say for a fact, just our outings going out in Miami, you definitely don't see a sea of people who are our complexion, you know. You might see a speckle here or there of, my shade or darker, but it's few and far between. Often I'm the only black person at a restaurant or the only black person at an event. And then you have those experiences where, like you go to these nightclubs and, people, who are you with? Like, I'll be at a table with all my homegirls, literally, and you feel a bouncer while I'm standing on the couch. Who are you with? And then when you get an attitude and be like, then they then you look like the angry black woman.
It's like they're just waiting for the stereotype to come out.
Yeah, so it's you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, you check them and then you look angry.
And it's one thing, we expect racism, but when it comes from your own people, because those bouncers will be black, and it comes from your own people. Now we talk about colorism, and I know I often see these debates online where it's like, oh, I see a lot of light-skinned women like, but I experience colorism too. And it's like, all right, I'm sure that it has happened that somebody might have teased you, but it's not to the same degree, because that's one thing in interpersonal relationships we can say that we've experienced it, but for the most part, lighter skinned people, it's not a debate, benefit from colorism. 100% benefit, but on a systemic level, colorism is actually deadly. Like, it's deadly for black women, maternal death rates. It's deadly for police. They said 36% of black people will be arrested at some point, but 66% of those people will be darker skinned. Darker skinned people have a 66% more chance of being arrested than a lighter skinned person. That's insane.
Skin is our sin.
So we got black people in this city, and I'm sure other places, of course, around the world, but in this city, the dating experience is like, it comes a little bit even more personal, I'm sure. And I get offended, and I'm mixed race, identify, of course, as a black woman, have black experiences. I never get mistaken for white. So I know that we could probably have differences in that, because I know there are people that ask me like, oh, Kristen's white. You're white passing, but you're not white. Right. And then there's situations. LaShawnna, have you experienced anything like that dating here?
With me?
Dating, yeah.
No.
Not at all? No.
I haven't. Because I date who likes me. Like, if you're not into chocolate girls, then I'm not going to be trying to entertain you. So a guy that is attracted to me or has laser beam focused toward me, he likes chocolate girls. So I'm not, and I don't ever, like, say if I'm out with a group of friends and I'm the only child, I never pick a guy. You gonna pick me, or you gonna pick who you like.
So you've never been someone's first chocolate girl? Like, you've never dated someone who,
if I have, they haven't told me that. Like, I normally don't date chocolate girls, but I like you. Because then I probably would be turned off. Like, well, I'm not your type. Because I love chocolate men. That's my preference. So I have a different view than other people. My preference is chocolate men. It's nothing wrong with a light-skinned guy. That's just my preference.
Right.
So if I fall for a light-skinned guy, I just like him. He's great. I'm always going to be looking. I'm like, oh, look at the chocolate one over there when you come in the room. So I'm going to be feeling like, I'm always going to have a wandering eye or looking that way. And I feel like if you normally like light-skinned girls, but you like me, you always going to be wandering that way to cheat. So let's not even go there. Date what you like so you can stay focused on what you like.
Sure.
Because I feel like you can have a physical type and still fall for someone else. Like, I wouldn't fault someone for, like, let's say you previously dated an Asian woman, then a dark-skinned woman, then a white woman, and you've hit every angle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
I do take issue when you only date outside and it's a type,
and then have the
like,
nerve to not look like any other woman.
Because that's conditioning.
So am I wrong? Because I only like chocolate men.
So no, if a white man only dates white women, I would never say that's wrong, because that's self-love, you know? Like,
but it's kind of, but if a guy my complexion said I only date girls Aisha's color, like, then we find something wrong with it. But I want a chocolate man, my color or darker.
But have you ever explored why that might be? Are there any stereotypes that you might assign to darker skinned men, or is it just
do you think light skinned men are soft? Do you think they whiny crybaby punk ass bitches?
Damn.
No, I do not.
Okay.
I just don't. I just find darker skin attractive. Like, I'm not attracted to pale, even if it's. They need to be tan or something. I just find chocolate skin, brown skin more attractive to me.
But it's what you are. And so I think what Didi's saying is, like, it's natural to like what you are. It's so natural to be comfortable with what you are. That. It's like, my parents, on my mom's side, they're like Irish, and they're all very, very pale, blue eyes. It's what they're used to seeing. It's what they came up seeing. And like, for them to be attracted to that would be very normal, because it's
I'm
a reflection
Asian
of yourself.
And I'm attracted to Asians, like that's naturally normal. If I'm in a group of people, like if I'm Asian, I'm gonna have an affinity to the person who looks like me. I'm gonna start.
I think it's when we just exclude, and I think black people come in every shade, but when we literally exclude every dark skinned person, whether it's a friend group, we're not going to bring her or him, or now you're really talking that there's got to be something there. There's got to be some self-hatred there, to the point where you only date light-skinned girls. You only.
Maybe they had a bad experience.
And you're not light-skinned?
I think a lot of men.
Just because of a bad experience.
But I think a lot of men don't like their mothers.
I could say that.
It's a lot of mean moms.
Some mommy issues.
Toxic moms. And they want anything that's the opposite of their mother. And we don't address that, because, man, I love my mom. My old girl used to beat the shit out of me, do this and that. But I love my old girl, because we're taught you're supposed to love your mom no matter what. But when you're beating people and demeaning them and talking them down, sit your ugly ass down, get your motherfucking ass in there, and all that type of stuff, that's going to breed some type of resentment or hatred inside of you as a child.
For women,
that may carry over
fact,
when you're older. A lot of this stuff is from childhood and from their mothers, and we're just saying you hate yourself. No, he hate his mama.
So there are situations where I feel like men, associate dark-skinned women with struggle. Like, my mama was a single mom, or someone who lacks resources and accessibility. You know what I'm saying?
Too tough, too aggressive,
too strong,
those
too
are the
dominant. Too alpha.
Or even a resentment that they pushed away their father. That she was too difficult for my father. Like, you have these parents that badmouth their partners and to their children, and that carries on to the point where, like, even if they saw physically that their father treated their mother like crap, they'll still feel that resentment, like, dang, the reason why I didn't have that 2-parent household was my mom was too difficult.
But my thing is, again, that ties into a stereotype of black women always having this struggle, because there are black men who only date outside of their black race, and they have loving black mothers who, who are kind and gentle. and they still, and that's because of conditioning.
Their conditioning's been conditioned.
That's what I'm saying.
But is it conditioning or is it preference?
I think
Can it be preference?
It could be both.
I think your preference can be rooted in racism.
My friend is married to a white man, and he's only dated black women.
She doesn't feel like a fetish?
No, she's not. That's what he likes. And I found out that he was raised by a he had a black nanny, and he loved her, and she was loving and took care of him. She was always with him while his parents worked. So that's just what he fell in love with.
But that was his primary carecaregiver.
That's like
which
a mother
makes sense,
when you see her. And not only that, you know, you have those types of feelings towards, like, basically, if someone is my caregiver and I'm seeing all these, like, just like we said with the angry mom who was mean or whatever, if I'm getting this experience of since infancy of warmth and love and care, then you're like, oh, I want that in my woman, and I associate that with the specific race, which is what I feel like a lot of black men and men in general are doing, you know, because I feel like we're the only race that really like has such a large population that excludes our race, and then we're a minority. So it's very when you think about black men seeing people outside of their race as a status symbol or a means of accessibility. Like I remember being with a homeboy and stuff, and he's like, yeah, when we was such and such, people look at us different. And it was, you know, someone that was white, and I'm like, yo, bro, you are a star. Like, you're like,
but
like
they want to still feel that craving to feel like somebody.
He's feeling like this person is the one that's giving us this accessibility, and I'm like, sir.
But I think some of it is systemic. A friend of mine knew someone in Brazil, and he darker skinned Afro-Brazilian man who wanted differently for his kids. So he's like, I don't want to marry anybody dark because I don't want dark kids, because look at how they treat dark skinned people. He was like, I really want to have children that aren't going to have the same experience that I have.
My grandma used to say that.
I feel like at the end of the day,
it's systemic. Like we know that darker skinned people get treated worse, have a higher chance of death during labor. We know that there's going to be racism here.
That's in every race.
Oh yeah, that's all across Indian,
Hispanic,
you want
Cubans.
Better for your kids, so you want to give them that easier life. So
None of us are wrong, though. None of us are wrong. It's nature versus nurture. It's all of the above. So it's systemic. It's what you're seeing.
Interpersonal.
It's the marketing that is around you.
Been that way
it's
for
your
years.
It's everything all together.
It was in the Bible from the beginning of time when Adam and Eve had the two sons, and one came out dark and they shunned him. It's been around forever. I don't think we can try to put an impact on it, which I did with ethnicity models.
That's what I wanted to get into.
Force them to put us in more media and more commercial film and television, so we can see images of ourselves. But we can't. I don't feel like we can change it overall. You can do what you can to make some difference, but it's been around since Jesus was born. You know what I'm saying?
Do you still see that now when you're casting? How do they exclude darker skinned women in examples that you can give?
Well, a lot of it I found over the years that it's subconscious. They don't even realize it. They pick in the same girls that look the same. I'm like, where's the brown girl? They used to call me the chocolate girl police. Where's the chocolate girl?
That's what they used to say about me
like,
too.
oh, some black girls in there, and the girl look like you. And like, no, where's the brown girl?
I cannot be the darkest person on set.
That she's brown.
That's sad.
And they don't even realize. They're like, oh, you know, then they'll add one. But they don't even realize it until somebody points it out, because it's so normal. And they just pick the girls that they like.
I was on a set where I saw a dark skinned rapper straight say that he didn't want to have anybody darker than me in the video.
Oh no, they've come up and said,
and that's
drop names.
I'm not going to drop the names, but they come up to me and saying such and such don't put the dark skinned girl next to him. They don't like.
Wow. See, they don't even want to be posed.
And he was
next
dark
to them.
skinned.
Yeah. Dark skin, ugly as ever.
See, and those the wounds, like it's insane to me. But I've been on those sets, and I'm just like, that's what I appreciate about ethnicity models. I have a funny story about that, because when I was younger, I tried to apply to ethnicity models, but they never contacted me back.
Girl,
I told you about that.
Back in the day, I was getting mail and photos from all over the world.
I wasn't that cute back then.
It was the
only.
Lies.
I had a rough face.
None of them,
awkward face.
None of
But
us believe you. You need
that's
more
what we
people.
love about Ethnicity Models. Like, you were known as that. You put all those faces on the map. I'm talking about from Melissa Ford. You had so many women that everybody wanted to look like those girls.
And it was different ethnicities, and I focused on not just being dark skinned or light skinned. I wanted to show everything.
You showed
Brazilian,
everything.
Panamanian. Because I come from Kansas City. We have black, white, and Mexican,
That's
as far
it.
as we know. So
Right.
when you come here, you don't know about Brazilians or Cubans or Hondurans or Nicaragua.
Indian
so
women.
I brought attention to, like, what are we? What is your ethnicity? What are you
Right.
made up of? So
I like
I just
Love that.
yeah. So because all we saw in the media was white. Like, I feel like it was no such thing as urban models. I pioneered that into
Yeah.
a thing because
But back then when you did it was so, lack of a better word, classy. Like, you were making sure
Well, that
those
was my
girls
whole
got
fight.
paid.
my whole fight was to make sure that it was not the only place you were seeing girls that looked like any of us were in Uncle Luke videos, you know,
Right.
being raunchy. So that was my fear. So I wanted to make sure that my brand was tasteful, that we can hop over and do a baby fat ad, or we can do a cream of nature hair campaign. And if
Yeah.
you look a certain way, then you can cross over to those family brands and not just the hip hop music videos.
Right.
So I was always fighting for them to make sure the
And
girls
that was
weren't
a high
represented.
paid industry back then, because now, you know, they get
Now,
paid peanuts, you know.
Child.
But
It's just highly saturated, so it's like
Yeah.
the
Well,
demand,
yeah.
the supply went up. So
Well, once MySpace came out, that was the decline of, because before you could only get those girls from Ethnicity Models.
right, and now people are
Now you
advertising
can
for
go on
themselves. Yeah.
MySpace and get girls that want to be Ethnicity Models to work for free because they just want that
Right.
exposure.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the key word. They're working for exposure at the end of the
Yeah.
day, which is crazy because, I mean, what exposure? Like, who watches these videos to the point that we used to back in the day where we were like, oh, that model from the Pharrell video. Like, I remember her. You know what I mean? Like,
that's died. That's dead. The reason why it became a thing because hip hop was at its height. You had never really seen girls like that on TV, and now you're seeing all these different exotic ethnic girls on television. So it's something new. It's the
Right.
purple cow.
Exactly.
You know. So once it got saturated, nobody cared anymore. Like,
Sure.
you got to come out with something else. And then they started. It started turning into soft porn. Which that's when I kind of backed out of
that was
the
Uncle Luke's
industry.
fault.
Well, no,
Well, he was
Luke
doing that
started
before.
it, and then it was
Yeah.
beautiful exotic girls like the Hype William girls, the Ethnicity
Yeah.
Models, and then we come up with BT Uncut. Then we get Black Men's Magazine, Smooth Magazine, and they just got raunchier
why
and
do they
raunchier.
Yeah.
hypersexualize black women like that?
Because we
though,
so
Lizzie?
damn fine, shit. They can't help it. They can't help it. We're look at us.
Yeah.
We got lips, we got titties, thighs, ass, skin. Like, we got everything. Just ethnic women. Like, how can you not hypersexualize? We can look at each other as women like, damn, Dee Dee, you fine. So what do you think men are gonna do?
You're right.
Like, we need to quit taking stuff so personal and let it be what it is. And if you can make a difference, then you make a difference. But I'm not gonna try to make you like dark-skinned girls. You like,
Yeah.
that's your preference, light-skinned girls. I'm not mad at you because I like chocolate
Right.
men, and I don't want you trying to force down my, well, that ain't fair. You don't like light-skinned. So what? I just don't.
I
Like,
think the issue that we have is like, you like what you like, but you don't have to go out of your way to down what you don't like.
Right.
That's the issue.
Exactly.
Like, nobody cares if you wanted to marry a white man or a white woman.
Right.
But when you go out of your way, and I knew a black woman like this. I went to school with her, and I remember she only wanted white men, but then she would go out of her way to be like, because black men are just so ghetto and they're so dirty and they have wide noses, all these stereotypes. She was black, dark skinned black.
It's toxic.
Self-hatred. She was
Yeah.
really projecting because it was like, how
But
can
you don't know what
You
she
just
went
said it right
through.
there. She was protected.
It was-
That's
What did
exactly what
she
that
went
was.
through
go
so
through?
much teasing. So
is
many
what I'm
people
saying.
teased her
By
every
people
day.
who probably look like her.
Right. So she
Exactly.
went completely to the other side, but then it just turns into we do see this, and sometimes I really feel like a lot of these men, I could be
Hurt
wrong, and this
people
might
hurt
be
people.
toxic. Some of them might be hurt, but I think sometimes it's a bandwagon thing.
Mm-hmm.
They think that if they can get this
Yeah.
woman, then it's like, well, then I've elevated myself, and now I want to sit there like that man who just lost his job. I forget his name, but he used to go on Twitter and he would talk about how black women are disgusting, how black women are this. Then he became a chef, and all these old tweets came out. I'm talking about he was even wishing death on dark skinned girls. Now he's, I think it was like Chef Wavy or something. I'm gonna find. He was like 2015, 2016, and it finally all caught up to him because it's like, why be so nasty? You don't have to be so nasty. You're perpetuating the stereotype, and then you're letting other people bandwagon off of you. Now you got white girls thinking, well, I could do this and I can talk down on black girls too because I got a boyfriend that lets it. And now we're not even going to get into the fetishization of biracial children and how many white girls I know that are like, I want to have a black boyfriend because I want black babies, but I don't want it to be too black. They want tan kids with curly hair with white features.
A lot of guys are like that.
So
rappers.
yeah, it's like we can't pretend that we don't see
we
it.
We have it in the lyrics, beautiful
But
black girl,
what we
put
gonna
that
do
bitch
about
with better red.
What we gonna do about it? Because it's toxic, and we sitting here giving it all this energy, and it's not changing. I learned to, I call it whams. Can we cuss on here?
Of course, yeah.
So I always tell Miss Carrie, whams, worry about your motherfucking self.
Right. I like that.
Worry about your motherfucking self. I'm not about to give you energy. If that's what you on, that's what you on. It don't affect me. If you got a thing against dark-skinned girl, I don't care. I feel like I'm a fine dark-skinned girl.
You know what,
I don't have no, that's what you like, you going to be over there. I'm going to be over here with somebody that love my chocolate ass.
And on an interpersonal level, you're 100% correct. But when it turns into a systemic thing where it's now affecting our lives, like for instance, they just did a study with these medical students where they asked these medical students if they think black people can endure more pain. And now these are kids that are in their 20s and they're actually, most of them said yes, black people
it's true. It's happened to me.
And you have to say, so now there are women dying because they're asking you, like a woman I know, she died after a C-section. I don't know her personally, but I know her husband online, and he's now fighting for black women to be able to go home after the hospital, something like just to live, because Cedars-Sinai, afterwards they gave her a C-section. They didn't listen to them. By the time they took her back, she had internal bleeding and she died. And it was like black women with masters and doctorates are a higher chance of dying during childbirth than a white woman with less than a high school degree.
I agree.
Diploma. That's insane. So the reason why I make it my business to speak out, because my proximity to whiteness sometimes allows me in spaces that dark-skinned women can't be heard in. And I think that proximity to whiteness allows me a chance to speak up, because who cares if they don't want to date you or that stuff. That I agree. We just mind our business. Right. But when it comes down to now the level of care that I'm receiving is different, or that not that I'm receiving, but most my friends are receiving. You know?
It's true. It's happened to me at the doctor before.
Really?
Yeah, I fell rollerblading and I thought my elbow was broken. The guy was in there and I was like, and I'm crying because he's trying to take off my jacket. And he was like, "You supposed to be tough. You don't even know anything about me. What you mean I'm supposed to be tough?"
We've seen that on social media too, of a woman. The doctor told her that she can have like X amount of time off. It was her like last couple weeks of pregnancy. I
saw that.
And the white nurse literally came up to her and was like, "You're fine," so on and so forth. We see a bunch of people pandering about, like, you see black men saying things about black love and, you know, like, "Oh, I love my black mom," and blah, 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 and making songs about black love. And then they're the opposite of that.
Complete opposite.
So, I mean, it gets real interesting. Which brings me to our next point. You know, we always do this fun segment, Toxic, Not Toxic. And this song is, it's a favorite of mine. It has a special place in my heart. Cater to You by Destiny's Child. You remember when Destiny's Child was popping? Okay.
Of course we remember.
I wanted to be Beyonce. I was always Beyonce. Like, you know, you get offended if someone's like, "You Michelle." You know.
Why you didn't want to be Kelly?
See, I like Kelly.
I was Beyonce.
You wanted to be the lead. That's what it was. That's her personality. Is lead personality.
Honey. Yeah. I could sing back up. If you trip and fall, we gonna keep it moving. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just me. So let's get into these lyrics. So it starts getting real toxic. Like, you ready?
Oh yeah, we gotta sing it.
Okay,
that's our thing. We always like.
All right, let's start with.
I really want to do Michelle's part.
We'll definitely do that part. So let's start with the making sure that I'm doing my part. If you want it, say the word. Let's go.
Okay, I see you.
I know whatever I'm not fulfilling, another woman is willing. I'm gonna fulfill you, my body and spirit.
I promise you.
I'm
keep myself up.
Remain the same chick you fell in love with. I keep it tight. I keep my figure right. I keep my hair fixed. Keep rocking the latest outfits. When you come home late, tell me on my shoulder, I'll roll over. That's your part. I'm here to serve. You said that's a good part?
That's her part.
I was like, hey.
She rolling
to
over.
Give it is my joy. All I wanna do is cater to
No.
you,
We
boy.
gotta. Come on.
Okay, you want to do the little just for the good old times? Let's go.
Where is it?
Let's do a show part just to do. You ready?
Oh,
1, 2, 3, go. I want to give my breath, my. You're
Why
not
y'all
gonna
do her like this, man?
Let's do it.
I can't.
It's right there. I want to give. Girl,
Okay.
you're killing time.
Ready, go.
Okay, 1,
You
2.
sound so good.
1, 2, ready, go. I want to give my breath, my strength, my will to be here. That's the least I can do. Let me cater to you through the good, the bad, the ups and the downs. I'll still be here
Y'all
for you.
crazy.
All right,
Okay,
so
we
let's
just
get
had to
into
do
how
that.
it's toxic, though. Okay. First of all,
Wait, she was like,
come on.
look, I just feel a kind of way about her saying, it just seems like she put him before herself. You know what I'm saying?
What part?
I don't like how she said, I know whatever I'm not fulfilling, another woman is willing. Pause. That's a problem for me.
It's true.
It's
though.
true.
It's true.
So I agree that it is true.
But she don't have to say it. Like
Right. It's true that there's your replacement is always right around the corner. But I think if the relationship is strong, I don't think that somebody should be willing to be trampled over, and meaning like they got to wake up and cook you food when you get home and all the time. I think we should cater to one another.
Yes,
And I do
yes.
think that we can be in servitude to one another at different points. You know, you might be up and
Reciprocity.
Reciprocity. I'm not the most submissive woman in the world, but I can see
I
where
am.
you are.
I'm
and
very submissive.
I'm
but
not.
When it comes to, I promise I'll keep myself up, remain the same chick you fell in love with, that's fair.
See, and I don't
I'll
like
keep
that
it
because
tight.
as a mother, it's not always completely possible that somebody stay exactly the same. And there's
not
a lot
exactly
of pressure.
the same, but you got to put
You
care
can,
into
you
yourself.
can put care,
can't just get
absolutely.
comfortable
But to
because-
say you're going to be the same chick you fell in love with, that's not always possible.
right.
Well, I don't think
There's
she
growth.
literally.
Nah,
mean
man,
the
there are
same.
people that
Growth
literally
emotionally
have
and physically.
not just that, but stretch marks and loose skin and things that some people cannot. Your body cannot grow another human and look exactly
But
the
I
same
don't think
Right.
she's
after.
saying that like exactly.
Nah, she said, I'll keep it tight, keep my figure right.
I keep my hair fixed, rocking the
Rocking the
latest
hottest outfit.
Here's the part that I think is toxic. In the beginning, it says, "My life would be purposeless without you."
Oh yeah,
That's a lot of pressure for another man.
No,
It's not just-
in
it's
general,
also
your life
super-
shouldn't be purposed around a man.
Yeah, it's
I
very.
agree.
That's just,
around a human in general. Like, why are you purposing your life around something that could possibly be temporary?
It's
There's
game,
no real
it's game.
foundation.
Oh, you think
She's running
it's
game. She's running game for sure.
Come on, y'all.
She's stroking that
She
man
running
ego.
game.
Stroke.
Right.
Maybe this is what. Maybe that's free game. Maybe that's what.
But some women probably do feel like that. They feel purposeless without a man. They get.
Honey,
There's a lot of women that
I-
feel that way,
yeah.
for sure.
There are a lot of people
I
that
know
just
a
have
that's
a
why
man
I'm
to
saying
say they
that's
have a
toxic.
man.
And it's
And it'd be the worst type of man. And then they'd be like, oh, you just mad because you ain't got a man. We don't want your man.
Sir,
Yeah, you could do bad all by yourself now.
listen. I didn't say ma'am. I said sir for a reason because they be raising these men. Them men be their sons. But
Like Beyonce to write something like this, right? And then turn around and then she writes Lemonade. and
Maybe
then
she
she's
didn't
like,
write it.
Independent women.
No,
who do you
got-
think you are? Like,
Well,
do you
It's
know who I
definitely a
am?
different stage of their life.
Well,
for
she
sure.
got
Right.
Well, when she was this was what?
this
like
was pre
early
the
20s?
cheating,
She
pre
was
the
young
like
and
she was
just
happy.
writing, probably
Young and
but you
optimistic.
experienced Jay-Z and
Happy.
some real shit. Your lips
Yeah.
gonna change.
Right, exactly. But I'm
At
just saying
this
that that's
point-
definitely toxic when you feel like your man completes you.
To the point where you don't have a life outside of that
There
person.
you go, to the point, because I could see someone being like, "You complete me," but that's different from thinking that you
No
compensate.
human being can complete you. I feel like that's like that's such a spiritual thing that I'll stand on 10 toes down.
Spiritually,
because-
they
yeah.
say you become one. So by definition, from
No,
God, yes,
no.
that's what the union.
That's
is.
not what
I
I'm
feel
saying.
you come
I'm
complete.
saying
I come
that-
complete, and we just compliment each other.
Yeah, I come complete too.
Not supplement each other. Complete
Yeah.
means you complement each other, not supplement.
But I believe I was already a whole
and that's
person
what I'm saying, not purpose.
before I joined with my
sure.
husband. I believe we were both two complete people.
whole people
Yeah,
coming, together. That's a union.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the thing that I'm saying.
Two
I'm
whole
saying
people
that you
coming
can't
together to
be
become
whole.
one.
You can't be whole without like a spiritual relationship bigger than you, right? Because you have to have a foundation that's solid. And when you're looking at something temporary, like not saying that every partnership is temporary, but it could be. What if they die? You know what I mean? So if your life is purposeless without that person, that's
no, I agree with that. The purposeless without that person part.
That's
But you
extreme.
said, someone completing you, and that's what marriage is.
No, because that's a union under God. So
Yes.
it's not just you linking up with another partner. It's
No.
also that your whole individual
For
is
sure.
with God.
For sure.
And then you link up. So
That's
I feel both ways. I feel like you can come complete and share with a person. I feel like also a person can complete you, because I notice when I'm in a healthy relationship with a guy, I don't have to use my masculine energy the way that I do when I'm
Like a
single.
yin and yang
Like one
situation.
thing I learned during COVID is to balance my yin and yang. The reason why I became successful with Ethnicity Models and a lot of things I accomplished in life, because my male energy was leading, because my feminine energy was
Suppressed.
from not having my dad there, or no trust in me, and I got to get it done myself. I do it myself. But when I'm with a guy like the guy I'm with now, he's very masculine. I am totally in my feminine. I don't
I
have to
love
use
that.
any masculine energy. So in a sense, he completes me, because now my yin and yang is balanced.
you're saying,
I'm
yeah.
not always.
I think he compliments
being
you, not
in charge.
completes. I hate the word complete.
Well,
but yeah,
well,
compliments.
he balances you.
Balance is a
balances you.
perfect word.
Yeah.
Let's say balance
Balances,
instead
yeah.
of complete, but it definitely balances you when you have somebody that is.
Well, complete
Good for
sound
you.
pretty in a song, I'll tell you.
No, the word was purposeless. But okay, so let's vote. Toxic or not toxic?
I think it's toxic. Absolutely toxic. 'Cause I ain't doing it.
I think it's toxic.
I'm saying some of it's toxic and some of it's not.
You
Some of
gotta
it, of
pick
course,
one,
is
though.
romantic.
I'm
don't
saying
think
it's
it's
it's a
toxic.
tie.
It's not toxic to me.
No.
I think part of it is just talking shit is a song. And the other part of it
Running
is true.
game.
What you won't do, the next bitch will do. And you do need to
That's
keep
true.
yourself together, because people get comfortable. Women get comfortable and don't take care of themselves. Men do it too. So, yeah, let's try to keep it together.
And there
For
ain't
sure.
nothing wrong with
The
catering
best
to your
version of
man.
yourself. Yeah.
At all.
Yes.
I'm all about catering to my man.
All right, so to end, LaShawnna, would you like to plug anything?
Yes. Anything you got going
What
on?
am I plugging? I don't know. 2023 started out really good. I've been working on a lot of projects. I just did a campaign for Puma, and I did
Hey.
the Super Bowl commercial with Doja Cat and Amy Schumer. I
awesome.
just did Skims with Kim Kardashian.
Amazing.
And I'm currently working on Nike and Drake collabo
Nice.
commercial
Exciting.
for that.
Big brand.
And then yesterday,
Big
Bad
things.
Boy, I did Bad Boys 3, so Bad Boys 4 just got green lit. So that should be coming sometime at the end of the year.
Yes.
Awesome.
It's just so much
Black girl
going on.
magic.
It's like, 2023 kicked in. We're 2019, we're 2020
Oh,
left
yeah.
off.
Right.
So, I got a bunch of projects coming up.
It's that manifestation. I see you out here.
Yeah, I can manifest now.
Whatever
That's a
you
whole,
want.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Right,
Yeah,
whatever you want.
I'm a
Yeah.
master manifester. I can manifest anything I want.
We're gonna
It's
have to have
I
you come
love
back.
like
and
genie
talk
in a
about
bottle.
that. Yeah.
Like, I want this. Poof, there it is.
I love
Well,
that.
like, comment, subscribe. We loved having you here. And make sure that you guys share, comment. You got Ethnicity Models. We got all your
Follow.
socials on the
Yeah,
bottom.
our Instagram is Ethnicity Models. My personal Instagram is Miss LaShawnna, MS LaShawnna, LaShawna. The House of Ethnicity. I've been curating events, private events,
Yes.
since COVID, and
The house
got a
is
bunch-
Upscale
lovely.
stuff though only.
huh?
I said upscale only.
Yeah, upscale, intimate, private, friends
Right.
and family.
Right, right.
Members
Yeah.
only.
Yeah, members only.
All right,
Awesome.
guys. Peace out.
Meeting adjourned.
Good stuff.